Hello, welcome to a ScrunchieSims video. You guys seem to like my roommate. Say hi.
Hi.
Before when she's been in my videos, so I had her build a house in The Sims, and I'm gonna try to renovate it.
It's bad. This house is already better than the one Sandra has to renovate.
I did ask her where the stairs were a few minutes ago, and she looked aghast and realized that there were no stairs. So
I was early on. I would have realized eventually.
She would have realized eventually. Alright, so this is the house that Amelia built. I don't really know what style it's in. It's kind of just a suburban house. There's a basement studio, there's living room, dining room, etc. And then 3 bedrooms in here. So each of our bedrooms in a guest room, I assume. And it uses all the packs that I have. Seasons, Machino, Strangerville, and Laundry Day. And we're putting it here in Newcrest. And let's take a look at the build. So we've got this little kind of bump out front entrance thing with a really small porch. There's a little bit of a unpainted wall there. Backyard, we've got this hot tub and picnic table and a grill and a lot of lights, good lighting, and this little back bump out there. And what I knew I wanted to change was that the house was really big. That was kind of my first impression. And I think it makes it hard to decorate a really large house, especially in The Sims, because if things look empty like they do a little bit now, I feel like it can more easily look like it's not done. So I knew immediately that I was going to try to scale down the build. I think Amelia really got like our colors in here, and I feel like a lot of the aesthetics are totally what we would choose and make sense for us. And I loved this sized up rug going into the stairway area. I also didn't love that the stairway was on the side here because that was just another thing making the build look a little bit bulky. And down the basement, so Amelia and I both, we met at film school and we're now graduates and we're making our own web series. Production starts in a week, so that's exciting. So this is a cool space. This is something I would not have thought of that Amelia did of like our studio downstairs, which I think is awesome. And a bathroom there. I'm just like imagining, sorry, there's a very loud motorcycle outside my apartment or car. So I really liked this concept, and it's something I probably like would not have thought of, but I had a fun time figuring out how to do that. And here's Amelia's room. She loves these colors. She has a rug kind of like this rug in The Sims in real life. And these are really her colors. A lot of this stuff is inspired by stuff that she has in her room already. But I wanted to make the room feel more full for these rooms. And I'm not sure which room is supposed to be my room. I'm thinking it's the other one, like not this one. I think the blue one is the guest room and the other one is, yeah, this one's my room because it has an easel, I think. And this rug is very me, and I think Amelia would know that and all of that. And it's a little more old-fashioned, I guess. But I wound up thinking like, oh, do we really need a 3rd bedroom? Like, do we need a guest room? I know in real life it's helpful, but in The Sims it just feels kind of redundant, and I don't know. I didn't know how to approach a guest bedroom necessarily, especially when it's so large. And she put those cool planters in the hallway, so that kind of gave me some inspiration later that you will see come back. And I knew I wanted to landscape a little differently as well. So getting into the speed build portion, you can see the first thing I do is reduce the size of the build. And also, it kind of was interesting to try to make the basement then fit with what I put above it, because of course basements like bump out of the ground a little bit on the top, so I was trying to make that not happen as much as possible, especially as I brought in all of these walls. I also wanted to add shapes that weren't necessarily a box, and I was trying to think like what style of house would Amelia and I get in this like our perfect house kind of thing. And the thing is, I feel like we would get a Victorian house rather than like kind of a general suburban, because I don't really like the like modern sort of new colonial-ish style of houses that I see, but we both really love looking at like old house Instagram accounts and stuff like that, like cheap old houses on Instagram. Incredible accounts. If you're interested in houses, go find it. And we'd love looking at like hardwood detail and all those old things. So I settled on like, okay, this is like a heavily renovated Victorian, and that's kind of what I went for with some of the kind of the walls, the floors. I feel like the floors she chose I did not change at all because I thought they were so good and they fit with that concept and kind of inspired me to go for that concept because it seemed to fit with the floor she put down. And for the cabinetry, I'm thinking it's like kind of more of a traditional house that then is updated with more of our fun colors and our style and stuff like that. And the floor plan is more open than the average Victorian house would be. So I maneuvered the kitchen over to a corner because I think corner kitchens look better. I gave us a nicer fridge. And I also wanted to put in an island in the middle of this that didn't make it feel like it was so pressed against a wall and not like a, what do you call that? Galley kitchen. Is that correct? You know, where it's all in one line. So I really wanted to make use of the space as much as possible. And I feel like putting those kind of islands down really helps with that. And sunflowers on the counter because Amelia likes yellow and sunflowers. And I thought those fun Moschino lights would just be like a cool, like, hey, we're trendy though. Like we updated this kind of thing. And I started looking at like, where was I going to put what? And I thought the dining area shouldn't be a formal dining room. We should just have it next to the kitchen. So it could be a little bit more of a hangout space. And the thing is, I'm kind of thinking of this house as a place we would entertain in a non-COVID world. Because Amelia and I at our apartment, I'd like to have parties and invite people over and we do like fun themes. So I was trying to think like, oh, what would be a really good main floor for people to hang out in to like be both an entryway but also open into a big room where everyone is socializing and not feel so separated. So that was something I was thinking about for like, what would our perfect house be like? It would be a place where we can invite people over and it's fun and there's not really a lot of separated rooms and it feels like there's multiple little gathering areas in a central area. I also moved the back door onto the side because I knew I wanted to make a wraparound porch to add some architectural detail to the build and kind of pull off the fact that it's a Victorian more. And I feel like it just helps so much, especially on Sims, to make houses not look like boxes. If you just add a little porch, it gives it a nice charm. And I also like the idea of us having a porch in general. It seemed like something that would make sense and we would enjoy. You know, I would love to sit on a porch in a rocking chair. I don't have nifty knitting, so no rocking chairs. But I would love to sit on a porch and, you know, on a lounge perhaps, read a book. I love a good porch, so that was something important. It took me a while to figure out how to roof this, and I've got to say, I think I'm like better at roofing in Sims 2 because I like understand the constraints a little bit better. I know that sounds ridiculous because I think Sims 4 is like the game that's easiest to roof in so far ever. I mean, Sims 3 was okay too, but like all the roof options here are just so good and like, yes, it's so much easier to build. But the thing I keep running into is I'm like so used to building the Sims 2 that my brain just like automatically thinks of how to build something in Sims 2, and sometimes I'm like, how do I do that in this game? And also the fact that I feel like I have a mental catalog of all the items, and especially because I bought new packs for Sims 4 recently, I feel like I don't have that mental catalog of these packs. So I'm really like, when I look for something to put down, I'm not like, oh, that sofa would be nice, or like, oh, I remember this deco item. I'm like, what is here? Someone tell me what's happening. I would like to know. So that's something I ran into a little, but I feel like the process of doing this, because it's kind of a bigger build than normal, was helpful in like getting me to see really all the items, because I feel like I grabbed every type of item possible. So I feel a little more self-assured. And I'm just trying to put windows on here in some kind of harmonious, good way that feels like there aren't too many windows, but are enough. And just trying to strike that balance. And I wound up doing, I think these are Strangerville windows that I really enjoy. I feel very happy with that pack. I know a lot of people Don't think it's one of the better game packs, but I mean, I am incredibly happy with all of the items because I think I like to build in that style, and I've used that pack like build item wise probably more than any of the packs I bought, to be honest. Maybe seasons. I mean, it's easy to use seasons because it's an expansion pack, but other than that. So Amelia made the house yellow. Amelia loves yellow, which is what I've said. I like more like blue, but I feel like the blue was too much with the yellow shutters. So I went with this white that I think works. It makes it feel almost not quite farmhousey, but like you can see it on some plains in the Midwest, perhaps. And it's like there's rolling hills and golden grain surrounding it with those that white siding there. Maybe that's a little too fanciful, but that's my image in my head. And I did this little like kind of widow's walk type thing because I didn't want to throw another roof on there. Maybe I should have, but I thought it would be a cool element, an interesting element to put that up there. I have a Sims 2 build that kind of has a similar roof, but it's totally different. It's like a New York kind of row house, townhouse type situation that's turned into a bar for the Sims 2, where I do a similar roof thing, and I've kind of been obsessed with it since because I think it just adds a lot of variant and interest in a build that you don't necessarily otherwise have when you just roof something. / I actually know how to do this, and you don't have to figure out some other roofing thing. So I did want to differentiate the front entrance a little bit more. So I had to refigure out how to do this porch with that addition, and it got a lot more difficult. And I don't know if I fully got it to a place where I'm like, yes, this is perfect, but I got it to a place where I'm not bothered by it, you know? But it takes me a while to figure that one out. I also definitely was feeling the fall vibes with this one because, like, there's outdoor space to hang out, but I feel like a porch and like the coziness of this and the stone on it is like perfect for the fall and stuff like that. So here's where I figure out how am I going to do the stairs. So I didn't want a sort of separate section. I wanted the stairs to come really from the kitchen, and I also wanted the stairways up and down to be closer to each other and more in line with each other and not in like totally separate places in the house. Just to have like one place that is like, here are the stairs, and that's where it is. So I wound up turning the stairs upstairs, like next to the kitchen, to the right, and doing the same thing but down and to the left with the basement stairs. And I think it worked out pretty well. Like, it still feels open over there, but it also, I don't know, I think it just fits together well. And kind of fixes the problem of like having a whole separate stair area without me having to reconfigure like the entire construction of the house, really. So I decided to keep this bathroom that was back there, but kind of reduce it in size. And there was also a laundry room down in the basement before, and I thought that laundry room might do better on the main floor instead of having to drag things down to the basement. And then I could also have a sort of mud room, but we'll get back to that later. So the living room was kind of the main challenge, I guess, because I thought maybe it should be a little bit more of a formal living room and also be like the entertainment space with the TV and stuff. So I got really inspired by this fireplace that I kind of wanted to center the room around, and the colors of like that dark green and that wood tone and kind of the goldy, brassy, metally part. And I thought that could be like the original character of the house, and then we put our stylistic spin on that, kind of using the same colors. So that was my goal, and I'm trying to make a chimney here because it really bothers me when there is not a chimney to go with a fireplace. I think some of them work because they look like they can just be like those little like stove heater type things, or not even stove, just like portable heater things that kind of look like fireplaces. But this is a full-on fireplace in a Victorian house. So I knew I needed a chimney, and I feel like it turned out pretty well. I just needed to adjust the roofing there. And then I was trying to make all the windows match and like figure out where I should put the windows and all that, and what I should do with this tiny little bump out there that I didn't want to get rid of, but I felt like was important once I added the chimney. And I think it's just kind of a I don't know, maybe it's not the most elegant solution, but it works. And I also wanted it to be really open. Like, I didn't want it to feel like a closed-in entryway. So I thought I should put one of those, I'm forgetting the name, like, you know, things that go between columns. You know what it is. There, because I also think that could be a really cool, like, architectural detail of the original house. And I wanted to bring in the wood tones of the floor kind of up into the walls and the molding and make it feel more like it was not just flooring that was laid down, but like a whole scheme that existed in the house beforehand. And now is my long battle with what couch to choose. So I didn't want the couch to be too like formal or stuffy looking. I did want it to seem like kind of a cool space. We are very cool and hip 20-something, so I thought this should probably reflect that. And my guiding concept for this part especially was, see, Amelia and I watch a lot of architectural digest videos on YouTube. If you haven't seen them, I recommend them, but it's all of these like celebrities, famous people touring you around their house, and you get to see all of the decisions they made and their designers, and you get to see some cool stuff. So we watch those a lot. And my goal for this is, if we saw this on an AD video, would Amelia go, wow? Because I know I like it because I'm doing it. But like, would Amelia go like, oh, I love that rug? That was the goal. So really, like, yes, I'm renovating this house that she has built. But it's also supposed to be like our, you know, Sims dream house. So it's supposed to really match both of our tastes and like the function that we need in a place. And I knew this is a little bit formal, perhaps, but we have so much other like hangout space downstairs that I thought it would be good to have a little bit more of like a showy living room. So it takes me a while to get all my end tables in order. This was really when I was like, I don't remember what's in this game. I don't fully know everything by heart at this point, so I was really looking through all of the table options for everything, and also just trying to fill up this space in a way that wasn't too much, but also like wasn't minimalist, because I think this room is pretty like maximalist in its style. Not all the way there, but like it is not a minimalist room, and that is not the goal. So putting enough stuff in it that it doesn't feel overcluttered is still functional for Sims, but it still has that vibe of like kind of a grand room. And this house is available to download right now on the gallery. I'm ScrunchieSims, just like I am here on the gallery, and I'll also leave a gallery link below in the description if you want to find it. So even though this is a 2-part video, you might be able to get a sneak peek if you want to download the house, and I'll get the other half of the video up shortly, probably a week or two. Because one thing I'm really excited about is I just hit 200 subscribers, so I know I'm going to be doing my 200 subscriber Q&A soon, so that might be next week's video. I might post more than one in a week. Who knows? But the other half of the video, I only cut it because it was so long. Like, I worked for like almost 6 hours on this build, which I think is maybe my longest recording time for a speed build in either Sims 4 or Sims 2 ever. So I got it in and it was like almost an hour long, even when I made it 8 times the normal speed. And I really don't want to go above 8 times the normal speed, because that feels like, then it's hard to see what I'm doing. Like, I know there are some parts that it's like, oh, we can afford to speed this up a little. But then there's some part that's like choosing swatches that'll just be like, so I didn't want to do that. And I did run a little Twitter poll. You can follow me on Twitter, also ScrunchieSims, just like I am here. I do put polls out and ask advice about what people want to see, and would people prefer like a longer video or 2 like 25-minute parts. And most people said they wanted 2 25-minute parts, so that's what I went with. And that also helps me have videos prepped, because there is something super exciting that's like non-Sims but still in my like video production world that's going to happen. So roommate Amelia, who built this build, and I are starting our web show that I talked about it before, and we're starting production next week basically. So I'm gonna have a little bit less time to work on this stuff, so it was kind of nice when everyone was like, no, do 2 videos, just keep it and put it out as a second video, because I'm like, okay, that's one less video I have to do. in this month than I already have set to give to people, and I won't fall behind because I do like keeping up with my once a week sort of regimen, because I just think it's good to have a consistent schedule. It makes me feel like accountable to myself and like I've accomplished something when I'm not just pushing out my deadlines and stuff. But I really wanted this porch to be, back to the build, I really wanted this porch to be like illuminated and warm looking, so I put all of those lamps down there. Amelia had the pumpkin, so I really leaned into the pumpkin thing. And I didn't wind up putting a lot of furniture out on the deck. You totally could if you download this and you want to. But I ran out of a little bit of steam on the landscaping of this. But I also, you know, it didn't necessarily need it because there were a few different outdoor hangout spots. There were a lot of seating areas. But I do think that's one thing that if you download the build, you could add some, you know, table and chairs. There's some benches on the porch because there's like a little nook for them. It would work well. And here I'm trying out every tile in the universe. And I feel like it was hard to tell if something was clashing or just like, ooh, this funky tile with this like traditional cabinets. So it was a little hard to tell because I was trying to make it kind of a colorful area, which I think I succeeded in. There are many colors. But it was hard to tell like what was too much and what was fun sometimes. I feel like that's something that's hard to do in The Sims, whereas like in real life you usually have a sense like, ooh, this is cool, this is interesting, or like, yuck, that's bad, this just doesn't go together and looks upsetting to my eyes. So I feel like that's a harder line to toe on The Sims rather than like in person. So here is a little laundry area that I'm transferring up here because I kind of think it would be a pain to drag all your laundry down to the basement. I mean, it's still a little bit of a pain to drag it to the first floor from the second floor, but it seems like less of a pain, you know, and then we wouldn't have to worry about like, is our washing machine going while we're trying to film something, which might be an issue. And I kind of thought this could be a mudroom, but it also happens to be like a half bath. I feel like right as I'm recording this, like every truck in the world is backing up on my street. Oh my god, now there's horns honking. What is going on? I'll leave it in as some flavor. But I'm trying to make this like a nice laundry room with a toilet in it that, you know, maybe it's not the most private place in the world, but I still think it's convenient to have at least one bathroom on this floor, even if it is a half bath and kind of shared laundry space. And I would love if I could put like a curtain on the door window, so it's like the door does have a window, but like there's a curtain covering it so no one's concerned about it. But that does not exist, so I did not do that. And I thought about maybe putting like an outdoor rug out there, and I kind of put it out there for a while and eventually get rid of it when I floor the outside deck area. What am I calling it? Porch. Outside deck area. Who am I? But I was trying to find something that matched the trim on this foundation. One of those things that kind of, I don't know, gets under my skin about Sims 4 is that I feel like the trims on the foundation make it hard to have like a wooden deck feeling, because it's like, what is that trim in reality? Like, I know usually it's like wood tone. When it's stone it makes more sense, but it's like, in reality, what is the equivalent of that trim? Like, that's not usually something that's around, like a deck that's just some planks and stuff like that. So I try to make it blend in a little bit so that part of my brain doesn't kick in and get upset about it. And I wanted to put some curtains here because I thought it would kind of spice up the wall. And I loved that Strangerville rug. Every single swatch of that one Strangerville rug is just like, chef's kiss. I love it so much. And I also wanted to make sure we had some lighting in here, trying to size things correctly and place them. And I was really unsure what to do with this area. Like, I put that bar there because I thought, hey, we're entertaining. We would probably want a bar if we, for some reason, had a house this size and, you know, coolly decorated as it is. So I just decided, like, how about some chairs? Like, how about a really nice, informal little area where people could just sit, hang out, just an extra little place around the bar. And I think it's a little funky looking in The Sims, but I think in real life it would be like, oh, this is so cool that it's here. Like, it feels like it's in the right spot and a good little nook. So I could just imagine that working out. And I was trying to put some kind of runner down here, but I don't know if I was ever happy with any of them. I kind of forget if I settled on one or just decided like, nope, too many rugs already. Too many rugs. I played for a long time about what to put on this wall. So I think Amelia originally had some plants, so I wanted to kind of take inspiration from that, but I also didn't want it to be too obtrusive or like be doing too much, you know? It's just a hallway, but also everything else is kind of like, ooh, bright colors, different shapes, and I didn't want this wall to be lackluster. And that little tulle gallery wall was like not quite large enough, and then I couldn't size it up to be exactly right. So I started playing with these wall things, and then these that Amelia had in the upstairs hallway. I thought like, oh, if she already chose that, this will be a good bet. Put a little plant stand back there. But I didn't really know what to do. Those are kind of our colors, like perfectly describe our like favorite colors, the colors we usually decorate with, those little decorations from Seasons. So I decided to put those downstairs. I thought maybe we needed a fun Machino wall here, but like that was too much. But then I thought, hey, that should be our studio walls because it would be like so cool. And then I thought, hey, maybe we need some stone. And I do like how some of this stone looked, but I think because like it was only so the fireplace or the chimney and the foundation was stone. If suddenly we had some stone walls that wasn't reflected on the outside, it would just be kind of funky and weird. Funky in a bad way. I know I've been using that as a good adjective this entire time, but like in a bad way. And so I made the basement smaller. It still bumps out here, but I kind of just decided to roll with it and landscape over it. So I don't do the rest of the landscaping now. That's in part 2, which will come out shortly. But I wanted to just landscape this now to make sure like I didn't hate it and I didn't need to change something with the basement at this stage. Because to keep the stairs where they were, I couldn't really take in the basement anymore. So I just wanted to make sure that this worked. And I really enjoy landscaping this in this game. I think that might be like one of my favorite things. I love being able to size plants up and down. Like it adds such a variety that I like don't experience in Sims 2. And honestly, I have so many conversions of Sims 4 plants in Sims 2. It's like my favorite thing. My favorite thing about Sims 4 is literally the plants. Like you can write that down. You can keep that thought. You can quote me on it. So we're wrapping up part 1. Remember to keep your eye out for part 2 and give it a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. See you next time.